Hi. Hello.
Very nice. Whoever's going to watch this someday will now have your voice. All right, so yesterday, everyone's in Bubble 1, Lesson 4. Look up at the board to just kind of verify that yours somewhat looks similar. A lot of you already did the work, so that's really awesome. Some of you struggled, some of you got it right away, some of you weren't here, so it's like all brand new, all fine. A few things I want to point out with this, and I'm going to move my screen a little bit. I'm sorry, cut it off. Ooh, that's really small. I'm going to have to make my screen smaller because it's just too big for you all. There. Okay, better. A few things I want to point out. We talked about filling color. So if you notice in the workspace, which is on the right-hand side down here, right here, you've got some fill color. So anytime you want an object to be filled a different color, you have to call upon it. Your computer isn't smart like you. It's just not going to know what you want it to do. So you have to give it commands. So in here, we filled a blue box or a blue rectangle, and then we filled a red rectangle. Also notice that now our rectangle command, RECT, has an X value and a Y value, which is the far left corner. So if we had to start drawing a rectangle, we'd start at the far left corner, and we'd start it like for this blue one at 100, 100. And now we do width and height. Is width horizontal or vertical? Livia? Horizontal. So width deals with horizontal size. So the thickness, the width. Height is vertical. So we're dealing with tallness or length, if you will. So there's different ways. I know in math you guys do width and sometimes you do length and width. Here we're doing width and height. So understanding. So if I said which two bubbles deal with the location of a rectangle, you would say the first two. Right, gentlemen, up front? We would say the first two deal with location. The last two little bubbles, the last two little white bubbly things in these blue boxes, are the last two, what we would call parameters. We deal with the size. So we're doing 100 pixels wide and 100 pixels like height, or 150 pixels height. So again, we're dealing with pixels because that's the size or unit that our computers understand. So before we leave this, can you do me one favor? Can we try to put one more rectangle in somewhere? I don't care where you put this. So right now, this was just my practice, or this was just what they wanted us to do. I am going to do one more rectangle, and I want this rectangle to be, let's do yellow. So you're going to drag the fill color. You're going to make it yellow. You're going to grab another rectangle box, and you can put it anywhere on your screen. So 100, 100 is the location. Guys, let's not go too far ahead, please, okay? So 100, 100 is, I might do, let's say, 100 and 300. And I'm going to make the width be 200 pixels and the height only be 50. When I hit run, I should get 3 boxes. I should get a blue one starts at 100, 100, where I'm starting. So my starting point's here. It draws a box that's going to be 100 pixels wide and 200 pixels in height. Then it picks up my pencil, my red pencil. It starts at 250, 100, which is this corner right here, the far upper left corner. And it's going to draw a box that's 100 pixels wide, 150 pixels in height. And then it draws another yellow box at 100, 300, and it goes 200 pixels wide and 50 pixels in height. In this exercise, though, they wanted us to make sure the red was longer than the blue. So x or width and height. So I'm dealing with the last number. So my last number should probably be smaller than my red one. So you could easily do something like that, where the blue had to be shorter than the red, and then we just created our third one. You will notice one more thing. Everyone look at your toolbox in the dead center here, or kind of to the left center. Do you guys see a thing that says comment? It's in gray.
Yeah.
Okay. You can drag that anywhere. So if I wanted to drag that and put it like above the blue, I can start typing stuff. I could say this is code for the blue box. Those little dashes or those backslashes or forward slashes, if you have two of them, you're commenting. So you're basically saying, hey, I can add information about my code without my program reading it. So those things in gray, your computer doesn't read. It's just for your purpose. So if you wanted to put your name in there, you could say, this is Nikki's code. So that way, whoever reads my code knows that it's my code. And I might actually have some comments to say about this. I might say, this is the coolest blue box that's ever going to be on my screen. No. But the commenting allows you to do that. So if you're wondering, what is that? We haven't seen that yet. That is there. Questions about this one? This is new. We now have different parameters. Hit finish. Okay, move on. Next, this is what I want you guys to write the code that makes the orange ellipse behind the green one. Don't worry about the exact size as long as it looks, as long as the green ellipse is entirely inside the orange one. So if I run this, this is what I currently have. I have one green ellipse. I want an orange or yellow shape. If you are done with this one, I want you to try to make it as close to this picture as you can. So even though it said don't worry about size, if you want it to be exact, try doing that one, please. So take a few moments. If you are done, help your neighbor. That doesn't mean you give your neighbor the answer, but you help them out. So don't move on. Help your neighbor. I'm serious, folks. Let's not move on yet, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we should be on this one and this one alone. So don't go any further. I know some of you are like rushing through this, but there are important things I need to point out. I did it. This might be easy, this might be hard. Who can help me out? Nick, do you want to help me out? You can do it. What do I need to do?
Very top.
Okay, so I'm adding an ellipse at the very top. What's my ellipse going to be?
Leave the first two.
Yep.
Make the second to the last 300.
Yep.
And then make the last one.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't your own discussion time.
And keep the last one.
Okay.
And then add a color on top of.
Yep.
Yes.
And make it yellow or keep it?
Make it orange.
All right, so folks, Nick told me that I need to create a new ellipse. I can leave it in the same position. Why? Because I want it to be in the same position basically as the green one. I just want it to be a different size. So I don't have to change the first two coordinates. The first two coordinates for an ellipse are in the very center of the circle. It's different than the rectangle. So I only need to change the last two numbers, which deal with the size. So the size of the ellipse deals with the width, meaning horizontal, and the height deals with the vertical size. And I change it to be orange. If I hit reset and run, I should get something just like that. Perfect. Excellent. So again, understanding, anytime I want to draw something, I have to fill something, unless it's all the same color. Secondly, this allows us to deal with different sizes. All right, so hit finish. Go to the next one. I want you to do 3, 4, and 5. You can stop at 5, please. No, stop at 5. Help your neighbors if you want to, please. 3, 4, and 5. Stop at 5, meaning don't go on to 6. Just finish. It is easy. I mean, it's simple. I would say it's always easy. Yeah. I don't know which one this one is. What bubble? Bubble 3, folks. What does bubble 3 say? It says, run the code to see the background arc. Change the background from yellow to orange. So look at the code, folks. See that we now have a new code called background for bubble 3. You just have to change the background color. So for bubble 3, what line is the background color in? Bubble 3, if you folks wouldn't mind going back to bubble 3. Livia, what line is the background color in?
Well, it's in yellow at first, so you have to change it to one.
Okay, but what line is it? See how it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? These numbers right here?
Oh, it's in line 1.
Line 1?
Well, it's supposed to be in line 1, but it's right now it's in line 3.
Okay. So, right now it's in line 3 and it's yellow. They said that I should change it to orange. So if I hit reset and run, it's now orange. And then there's actually a purple square that is covered up by the background. So can you change the order of the code? Yes, I can. So again, coding is like pizza. There could be things hidden underneath, just like cheese, hiding sauce underneath the pizza. Order matters. So I'm going to click and drag the background and put it underneath everything else so it's not covering everything. So bubble 3, stop at bubble 6, guys. Do not go on. So stop. Do not go on to bubble 6. So bubble 3, are there questions about that? A lot of you are like, what was I supposed to do? I got something going. Reading the directions helps. So I'm going to hit finish. Bubble 4 talks about changing the background. Use background to make the black background behind the green circle. Oops, it's frozen. What am I making the, ooh. Oh, so when I run this, I just need to make a black background. So it should be before the green ellipse. So hit reset and run. It should look like that. And then bubble 5. Somebody help me with bubble 5. What do I need to do?
Go down to where it says draw last.
Yep.
And then go to like the third
Yep.
spot where it says numbers and just put 400.
400?
Yeah.
Okay. So they wanted us to debug this program so that way the yellow circle would be in the correct spot. Which parameter makes the rectangle, the grass wider? You can change the grass. Ooh, that means the grass is wider, not the yellow circle, but the grass. It didn't go all the way to the edge. All right, hit finish, please. In bubble 6. We are here in bubble 6. You guys are going to pick one of these. If you get done with one, do the other one, please. So take a few moments and pick one of these from bubble 6. If you get one done, try a different one. I'm going to do B. This one speaks to me. Oh, it is. Okay. Oh. This one doesn't speak to me. This one's killing me right now. Yep, go to bubble 6 and try one.
I was starting to make stars.
Yeah. So you can just type the close application. Try it again. If you have to start over, start over.
See my bag in the background?
Okay.
It's probably going to be a compliment.
Okay.
So I don't go to my office.
Okay.
And I'm in 2 classes.
Okay.
I'm just trying to just like backpack goon.
Well, it's a rule.
I know. So I'm saying like,
Yep.
I don't want to take like I know I sound.
That's fine.
You know that.
It's all good. Try B. That's a little bit trickier, folks. It's hard. I had to work my way back. So like my first rectangle, I probably need to start up. I don't know where the problem is. So, okay. So I have one black rectangle. And then the white, I'm guessing, needs to be... Oh, that's too big. So I need the white to be... Ah, so it's basically moving this. So it looks like for B, you're kind of just moving the first two a little bit. So this might be 40 and maybe 70. I don't know if that's true. So something like that. I'm seeing a pattern. I don't know if this is true. So let's see. So something sort of. I worked my way down, Livia. I just worked on the first two. I started at 20, 50, and then went 30, 60. So I really had to think about it. That one hurt my head. All right, folks, wrap up whatever one you're doing. A few things I want to point out. So I worked on B for this. This one was tricky. If you're at a point where you're not sure where to start, sometimes moving things around or checking different codes, like changing some of the code a little bit, will help. So, and plus I actually had to read the code. I was hoping it would be really obvious, like I could quickly do it. But I had to sit and think about where was this first rectangle being drawn. And then I started with the first one, and then I realized there was a pattern. So sometimes you might have to stop and think, what am I trying to accomplish, and where's that first line of code doing its thing? All right, so hit finish for me, please. Go to bubble 7. So you're going to hit finish and then finish one more time. And you are here. Now that grass is working, let's add a cloud to the sky. Unfortunately, it looks like it's funny right now. You are going to debug the program to make the cloud wider than it is tall, like the image. Hint, you'll need to change 2 parameters. Should be kind of easy. So Ashton, let's work on that, okay? The goal is to make. Oh. Have you been locked out this whole time? Yeah. Okay. All right, Livia. Nope, we're going to hand this one in. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is something that I need to do with this cloud? Graydon.
First, you need to kind of make it in circle shape.
Okay.
Kind of making it
Okay. So what did you do?
I saw it was like a 200. First, that was big cloud.
Okay. Hey, gentlemen, it is too loud. Okay, so you switched what around? I'm looking at the ellipse. Oh, the width and height. Okay, so folks, understanding the first 2 are the location. So if you just said I switched them around, there's 4 options I can switch. So being very specific is going to be helpful. So Grady told me, like, hey, I need to change the last 2, the sizes. So the width and the height. And you did what? You switched those 2 around from 200. Was the third bubble? Was 100. All right, so let's see. Reset and run? Absolutely. Nice job. What I need from you is, once you have this done, you are going to go up to share. So you should be on bubble 7 and only on bubble 7. Once you have the picture, it's similar to what you see. You're going to click share. Hopefully, I believe you all have sharing rights. You're going to click on the share button. You're going to Command C, and you're going to share it in Schoology for me. So again, before we go, this says the code is already changed for me. I just need to change the last 2 bubbles for the white cloud. So it's this 3rd and 4th one, because that deals with size. So that 3rd one was like 200. The 4th one was 100. So my ellipse. Hey, Oliver. The ellipse for the white cloud should be something like 150, 100. It's staying in the same location. But now the size is going to be, it could be 200, 100. Once you have that, you're going to go to share, click on the link so it's highlighted, hit Command or Control C to copy that link. You're then going to go back to Schoology. You are going to find where it says Animation Games. This is Bubble 7. So it's going to be what's due today. Click on that. Go up to Submit. I don't know what you're talking about. The assignment is Shapes and Parameters, Bubble 7. Because that's what bubble we're on. Then you're going to hit Submit. And folks, hey, guys in the back, if you're wondering, am I in the right spot? Look at what it says. Double check where you're at. If you're wondering if we're on bubble 75, click on where we are in code.org. We are on lesson 4, shapes and parameters. So in code.org, go to the assignment. In fact, it says it's due today. So if you have any doubt what assignment we're handing in, it's probably the one that's due on Thursday, which is today. Then I also always try to put a picture of what the assignment looks like. So if you're like, that is not the assignment I just did, you should have a clear indication, hey, I'm in the wrong spot. Then go to Submit Assignment. Go to Create. Find the little link icon. Control V to paste. Give it a title. You can call it Bubble 7. Or you could call it Cloud. Or you could put your name or assignment. Could be anything your heart's desire. Hit Insert, Submit.
I submitted mine.
Excellent.
I submitted mine to
I appreciate it. So, guys, I'm not trying to hide how to find things, but you have to at least be aware of where you're handing stuff in and what you're handing in. So if you're wondering, where do I hand it in and what am I handing in? It helps to read the assignment. I have students all the time that go, is this the right assignment? And I go, well, what does it say? And they're like, oh, it says something totally different. And the picture looks totally different than what I'm supposed to hand in. So be aware. We're not trying to make it hard, but it just might mean it takes a little effort. Yes. Do you what? Yeah. 206. And again, good point. It scared me for a minute because sometimes I lose track of time. Guys, you have your time in the back of your binder too, your little pamphlet. All right, with that being said, let's go back to code.org, please. Where it says more in the orange little square, you're going to click on that. We're going to scroll all the way down. And you are now going to be in variables. So we'll be in lesson 5, variables, bubble 1. How many of you have heard of variables before? Like the word variables? I would hope maybe yes. Based on math? Okay, hands down. We are going to use something, gentlemen up front. We are going to, thank you, Mason. We are going to be working on something called variables. Variables are really important. Why? Because it allows us to store things. If I said the seat that some are sitting in is a variable called seat, anyone could sit there. We could, tomorrow, Ella could be sitting there. That seat is a variable. It's just a holding spot. So just like when you play a video game and it has score, score is just a variable for what your current score is. It's just holding a certain amount of points you've earned. Same with like life. If you're playing a game where you have so many lives, it's just holding that spot. So take a look at bubble 1 here. It says read the code below and make a prediction. So I want you folks to type in like what you think is going to happen. Where's the circle? Where will the circle be drawn, and what will happen if you change the number? You're going to type it right in. Yes, Marcus. That's okay. You could probably type in the sky is blue and the grass is green. That's okay. It's okay if it's not going to be the end of the world if you wrote something totally on accident. So, folks, don't worry. It's not gonna like tank you or anything. I can see the answers, but I'm not judging you on the answers. It's just meant to be kind of be an intro. What do you think is gonna happen? And then you can hit run. Yes, Marcus. Or Leah.
Do we have to watch the video?
We're gonna watch it together. Man, if I could lock your computers down, I would. All right, so according to this, looking at this screen, it says what circle will be drawn, and what will happen if you change the number in line 1. So I'm guessing there's going to be a circle that's probably 100, 100, because I know those last two guys. I know those last two things in that bubble. AJ, let's be where we need to be, please. Those last two parameters, those last two things, 100, 100, is going to be the size. So I know it's going to draw a circle that is 100 in diameter. I can't spell diameter right. And it's maybe going to be I don't know, I know it's going to be 350. It's going to be low on my screen. I have no idea. Maybe I have no idea what that X position means, but I know 350 is going to be low on my screen. I'm going to hit run. Yep, it's low. How do I know that? Believe it or not, that X position is a variable. It could be called Ashton. It could be called Ava. It could be called Sawyer. It could be called Mason. That is just a name. And its value is 50. So it's just being called twice. So line 1, we're creating or declaring our variable. Line 2, we're calling upon it. All right, we're going to watch the video.
Video, please.
I know, you're all excited. Let me actually quit. All right, so spinning wheel of death here. All right, folks, that doesn't mean we're talking. Gentlemen, ladies, eyes up on the screen, please.
Most apps keep track of pieces of information that change and update as you use the app. For example, a simple game can keep track of your score and the number of lives you have left as you play. Apps utilize the computer's memory to do this, and learning how to use that memory when programming is a really powerful skill. The most common way to leverage a computer's memory is by creating a variable. Now, a variable is just a container for storing a value. And once created, the variable is stored in the computer's memory, and it can be used and updated repeatedly throughout your program. As an example, let's use variables to keep track of the score and the number of lives remaining in a hypothetical game. Creating the variable is really easy. You use the word var followed by a label that you want to give the variable. You can choose any label you want, but it helps to choose a word that describes the variable that you want to store. So let's label our first variable score to keep track of the score. And then we can create a second variable to keep track of lives. Remember these labels. You'll need them later in order to use the variables. We can assign a value to the variable using the equal sign, like this. Let's set our starting score to 0 and our number of lives to 3. Remember, you only need to use the var at the time that you want to create a new variable. A common mistake is to use it every single time you want to refer to a variable. Also, be sure to avoid mixing up the order when you call your variables. The label's got to appear on the left, and the value has to appear on the right, like this, not like this. Often, you'll want to create a variable and assign it a value right away. There's a really convenient way to do this with one line of code. This is sometimes called initializing the variable. It's important to realize that this single line of code is actually doing two things. First, creating the variable, and then second, assigning it a value. Let's take a moment to talk about the equal sign. In many coding language, the equal symbol is called the assignment operator because you use it to assign a value to a variable. And you're probably used to seeing it in math, but in programming, it's a little bit different. If you were in math class and you saw this, something would definitely be wrong. Score can't possibly equal both 5 and 7, but this is not math class. With code, a computer is executing a set of instructions, one after the other. So this would just tell the computer to set score to 5, and then on the next line, set it to 7. In an effort to avoid confusion, programmers often don't use the word equals when we see this sign. Instead, they use the phrase gets the value. So when we see a statement like this, we could read it as score gets the value 7, or score gets 7 for short. Some programming languages avoid the confusion entirely by representing the assignment statements with a sideways arrow, like this. To use a variable, you just refer to it by its label. Anywhere the variable name appears in the program, the value currently stored in the variable will be retrieved from memory. The tricky part is that when using a variable, you often can't see visually what its value is. To bypass that problem, you can use console.log to display the values like this. This is a really handy trick, but remember there's a difference between showing the value of a variable and writing out the variable's label. When text appears in quotes, you're telling the computer to write those literal ASCII characters on the screen like this. But on the other hand, without quotes, the computer assumes that you're referring to a variable called score, and it will attempt to retrieve its value. If you haven't made that variable, then the computer will give an error.
All right, so we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. So that was just a little introduction. We'll have some activities to get us thinking more about variables, and we will move on from there. So what I need from you folks is